the Spanish flu went away.
Right.
But this is not going to go away.
Went away like.
How long did the Spanish
Yeah.
flu last?
How do you know?
I don't know how long it lasted, but it came out like 100 years ago.
What caused it? A bird?
I don't know, but it's something tied with why it's called Spanish.
I want to know why is it gone? How is it gone?
Hocus pocus, like we like to say around here.
Magic.
It's magic. You know. Are we ever going to start this podcast, like officially introduce it, or?
We already started.
Oh, we're recording. I didn't even know. We had chomping and when'd you do that, Naya?
Because Claudia was being funny, and I was like, I need to capture these sound bites. You know, she's being her Sagittarius self.
Shut up. I am not funny.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome to Shut Up and Thrive, the podcast that will inspire you to live your best life.
3 best friends who have been growing, motivating, and inspiring each other.
I'm Vanilla. I bring the fun.
And this is Claudia, the passionate one.
And your girl Nair, sprinkling in the creativity.
When you listen to Shut Up and Thrive, it will remind you of your chats with your own BFFs.
Join in every week as we discuss all the things that make you want to shut up and thrive.
So, are you ready?
Let's get into the conversation.
Ooh, ooh. Let's get back to this.
COVID.
Dun, dun, dun.
Let's go back to that subject nobody wants to talk about anymore. COVID.
What is COVID?
COVID.
Was that even real life?
What's COVID? That's you.
For a lot of people, it still is.
Yeah, people are still getting it. It's still a thing.
How many variants do we have now? I've lost count.
I never counted them.
I never either.
Oh, my
But they were
God.
all like the Greek alphabet, right? Like Delta.
Mhm.
That's the only one I know.
Yeah.
Delta. I
Yeah,
don't know the
I
rest.
don't
What
know.
are the other ones?
I don't know their names. I just
Yeah.
know there's a lot.
Omarion.
Yeah, that was one.
Yeah, it wasn't really Omarion, but
Yeah, it was. It started like that.
Something that started with an O, something that started with the D.
Delta. I think there was one more.
I think they all spelled out COVID. Each started with
No,
the
they
letter of
didn't.
COVID.
No, really?
Yeah. Check them out. Go on Google.
That's twisted.
Yeah, it is.
That's crazy, creepy.
I want to say I saw something that they all started with that.
More proof
not
that that
sure.
shit wasn't even real. I don't know, guys. I really don't
We
know.
don't know.
but
We're just talking.
I know.
Can we
I know. I got
introduce, like,
sick, and
Today's
I got sick
topic, yes.
twice.
Fine.
Let's
We
welcome our
introduced the
listeners to
topic.
another week.
Welcome. They've already been listening to us. I'm like, come on, girls, let's go. What are we talking about? Welcome to Shut Up and Thrive.
Welcome.
Thank you for tuning in.
If you've already subscribed to us, you probably already know how we start our conversations a little off. But if you're not, welcome.
Yeah, they're only off because now you edits it that way
Yeah,
on
they don't know.
purpose.
They don't.
She
They're
likes
smooth.
throwing this little fun things.
The final version is smooth. Yeah, you get a little craziness in the beginning, but that's just how we are. And,
Yeah.
you know, then it all flows.
That's right. So today we'll be discussing COVID-19, and we're probably going to touch like little things about our experiences, nothing professional. Like we say all the time, we're not professionals in these conversations, and we just have our own ideas and our experiences that we'll be talking to you about. And I know that COVID is a very serious conversation. Please don't take anything personal offense to, but we're trying to make everything light because we definitely know that it is serious. It has affected millions of people around the world, and including our own people, our own family. So my heart goes out to anybody who's lost someone towards COVID and is experiencing anything with COVID at the moment. That is, you know, the aftermath. I heard that it's been different with everyone, so it's not the same for every person who has caught COVID or hasn't caught COVID or has an effect with COVID. So my sincere condolences and apologies for anything that I may say that's offensive to you. I'm going to tell you right now. So I'm keeping it real. But I want to be sensitive
definitely
to your needs.
second that.
Yeah, we're just basically speaking from our experience. And like Claudia said, you know, we're just trying to keep things light, fun, and kind of talk through, you know, this was a moment in history, and we, in a sense, want to record it from our perspective and what our experience was. If you've been with us from the beginning, you will know that when we opened this podcast, we kind of wanted this to be like a time capsule that we can go back to and listen to, our children can listen to, so on and so forth. So it's just another way of us like recording a time in history, because we all know this pandemic was history. We were part of history. So
And now we will chat a little bit how did we thrive during COVID or not? And is the pandemic are we still living in the pandemic, or do you ladies think it's in the future
or in the
or
past.
history? I mean,
Yeah.
the past. Or is it really history?
Is it
Well,
still
let's take it to
present?
the beginning.
So how has the last past 2 years been with COVID for us?
Well, I remember perfectly when my job was like, all right, we're home, we're not working, shut down. And I was like, this is crazy. All right, I'll take being home for a week or two, just figuring out what's going on in the world. Never expected it to be that long. Or I am still working from home. Never expected it that it would be like that. But here we are.
Did you know about it before your company said you guys are going to work from home? Like, did you know it was going on, or was it like that was like the first time you're hearing about it?
Not when they told us don't come in because it's locked down. I heard it like, oh, I think the world's going to shut down, or I think is it either Europe or other countries had already been shutting
Starting
down,
in
and then
China.
boom.
For me was so I took a trip out of the country right before the states shut down. And I remember being in the airport and seeing people with masks on. And that's not typical, to see people with masks at the airport. Like that
Hmm.
wasn't a normal thing to see, at least not in the States. Like I know even before COVID, like I don't know if it's China, but an Asian country, they like whenever you're sick, when they go out in public, they always wear masks. That was something routine for them. So the people who were wearing masks were Asian people. However, they were here in the States. You know what I mean? It was, not something that we see. So at that moment, I knew it was something serious in the world because, that was something I hadn't seen before. But I didn't think that it would get to a point that it would reach us. Like I was hearing in the news, like China had already shut down. Europe was like getting really bad, but I never thought it would like really get to us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
Yes.
following the news, that's exactly how I heard it was, oh, China has this virus, they're shutting down, it came from a specific place. And then all the rumors are, oh, it's an animal disease, humans can't get it. How did human get it? So it was all over TV at that time. And then when we finally started to like see it here, I didn't expect a shutdown either because I'm like, it's the United States of America.
Yeah.
For some reason, it was just like, no, we're not shutting down. There's no way. That's not happening. Like it's not gonna get that big. It's gonna go away. So like the whole denial that it's gonna reach
Yeah.
us that
And
strong
even
is
our president at the time was like, oh, we'll be back to normal by Easter. So all this was happening in like March, right?
yep. Hmm.
And he's like,
If
yeah,
anything, I thought, oh, America's gonna get this under control.
yeah.
The USA is
And we were like one
gonna
of the
fix it.
worst countries
To
when it
get
came.
it all together.
Uh,
That is true. It took us a while, and I think that the presidency that we had at the time had a lot to do with it. And there was a lot of like misconception about it, how you catch it, and if was it real, was it fake? Like because he was a lot about like fake news, real news, all that stuff. So it did bother a lot of people that I know that would talk to me about it, and I'm like, I don't know, like. I don't know what he's talking about. I try not to listen to, I'm sorry, but I tried not to listen because politics just drive me insane. Their talk is just sweet talk, and then it's on to the next one. It's all for them. It's for their pocket, their own interest. That's how I feel. But that's my personal feeling. So I never thought we would shut down. So when we shut down, I thought it was cool. I'm like,
Cool.
I'm like, wait a minute, we're shutting down? Okay, this is serious. At the
yeah.
same time, it's like, oh my God, it's serious. We're really shutting down because Americans are go-getter. Like there is
We don't
no
stop
other
for
country in the world that production stops. Like, but they really was like, stay home, don't go nowhere. And I didn't think it was a bad thing. I thought it was for my safety at the same time. So I wanted people to be safe. So I applied by it. I did that. And I don't know. How did you guys thrive through it?
Well, I love being home.
We
So
know.
for me, it was amazing. Again, when I started working from home, I'm like, yes, I'll do this forever. It didn't really affect me in terms of like my mental health because I know there are people out there that need to go out, like they need like being around people and energizes them. Where I'm the opposite, like I need to be alone. I'm an introvert, right? So it wasn't really a change for me. I'm not someone who goes out a lot. So I didn't mind that. And then, my husband, who's kind of like the opposite, he's always on the go, you know what I mean? So it was kind of a change for him, but it was good for me because I had him here.
You had him
So
right where you wanted him.
right where I wanted him. But in terms of that, like the whole having to be confined to your home, that wasn't a problem for me. For me was where I felt kind of strange about things was like if you guys remember we had that whole toilet paper fiasco.
Nonsense.
Oh my
So
gosh.
that was insane, like grocery stores just running out of things and just the
Hmm.
whole process of going to the grocery store and how we're going to get groceries. That was the only thing that was mainly more concerning for me. But in terms of like movie theaters and, things like that, recreational things getting shut down, that wasn't a problem for me. It was more of like the basic essentials and getting food and all that stuff that it was more concerning for me.
Well, for me, the lockdown part itself was not nothing out of this ordinary. I do enjoy being home as well. So when I saw that we had to be home, I thought I was going to be like, what do you mean we have to? But it didn't bother me at all. My family folk, on the other hand, almost try to make it like, this is crazy. And I would listen to them like complain so much about not being able to go out or being afraid to go into this, grocery stores to thing. But I didn't mind it because I was like, everybody's already buying everything online. So why are you guys complaining? Like, you need toilet paper, just buy it online. Anything you want, basically, right? You can have delivered to your door. So I actually used the lockdown to go within and enjoy a lot of things that I like doing and I didn't have much time doing. I didn't stay unemployed, at least probably not at all. Probably a week or two. The second week, my job was like, all right, we're ready to go. We will be working from home. So that was another big change, but I got, accustomed to it pretty rather quickly and started to enjoy it. Till this day, I'm still enjoying being able to work from home. Yeah. So the lockdown part, I guess, to me wasn't a big deal. It wasn't a big deal at all.
I agree. I like the staying home part and the family staying together. Work didn't affect. I basically was in the trench of it all, so My work was in the community. So my elderlies was part of my team to take care of. So I literally was in the middle of everything because they were the people who was with them to get the COVID faster and die from and things like that. So I was in the midst of that. So we did the whole 1 week on, 1 week off.
Like going in to see people?
Yeah, going into the office. So
Okay.
they minimize the staffing to one or two people within the office. And then sometimes just one person, and then the other rest of the staff would be home. Had to do the whole gloves thing, the whole mask thing
Mass.
was highly mandated. I worked for a government agency, so I couldn't come home. So I was one of the people. I was like almost like one of the nurses out there. I couldn't. There wasn't a way that you're staying home and that's it. You're doing your job from home. I
You
had
were
to
what
be
they
out
called
there.
what? What did we refer
First
to?
respond, part of the first responders, I guess,
Or essential
or the
workers.
Essential.
essential workers.
That's the
Yeah.
word.
So because we were handling all of the elderly sites that we had. So that didn't change besides the on and off. I was in the midst of it. So I've seen the worst on people, like the fear that they have, and this coming from like colleagues, how hypersensitive they became. I was sure that I'm washing my hands, I'm watching where I'm going, I'm taking care, I'm
Keeping
like
your
not touching
distance.
things. So I'm doing all of the precautions that, what are they called? CDC? No, not CDC.
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 CDC, yeah.
What they were telling us to do, because I had to learn that and I had to do it. But I didn't take it to like anxiety mode because I felt like my colleagues were like anxious. They were like it was like being around them wasn't driving me insane because I'm just like I just want to be in this office for myself because I know what I'm doing. I don't need someone who's if I touch this, they're already cleaning it again. Like those type of things. I'm OCD, but I'm like, yo, you just saw me. I had my gloves on. There was like I didn't touch anything. Like, we're okay. But I understand some people take change and things like that, like unknown to an anxiety level, but it didn't do that to me. I was well sure that if I followed the directions that we were giving and the things that I've done every day, which is wash my hands, like hand sanitizer,
Yeah.
like I used to walk around with that around my neck because I looked at I work with people. So touching people, touching other things was always something I did. So I always had hand sanitizer with me or washing my hands. Those are practices that I already had in place. I didn't have to input them in at that time.
Yeah, every
So
Christmas you give us hand sanitizer
Yeah.
in our Christmas baggies.
I do because I have them around all the time. So it was like kids already knew. Like I work with kids, so kids knew to come to me and grab my. Miss, I need hand sanitizer because I'm like, whatever. I don't want to know why you need it, but here. Don't tell me why, so it's like it was something I was already in practice. As for family, it bothered a lot, the family part, because I'm a family person. So not being able to be around my family was hard. And that was part of the thing that we didn't really follow much because we still saw each other, but with caution to make sure that it was work, then it was work. We were coming home, washing our hands, changing our clothes before we saw each other and things like that. So mental health, yeah, could kill you crazy if you're living with people that
I
kind
think,
of
We hit
don't know
hard.
each other too much.
yeah. Or even like you notice a difference of people who watch the news. Like I'm not someone
Oh my
who's
God.
constantly watching the news. Like I don't watch the news, honestly. I'll catch bits and pieces of what's going on in the world through like social media. And if it's something that I really need to pay attention to, then I'll read up on it here and there. And that's what I did with this pandemic. But I was not like, it was, there's people that are constantly sitting in front of the news, listening to the latest, watching and like
All the death numbers,
in
like
it.
they were
Yeah.
counting them, and I'm like, oh my God, please, you're gonna drive yourself insane. Please stop.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like seriously, it's not funny, but the idea of always having that news in your head will develop mental health for you. I don't know if it has, and you've noticed in people, and now they're consistently like panicking,
Paranoid.
anxiety. I think anxiety has been the top of the thing that I notice with people. Like they're consistently on the anxious mode, like not relaxed all like around my surroundings and like the world that I see when I'm out there because I'm an observer. I observe almost everybody, and that is like I think it's because of the news that they've watched so much, and now then there's the conspiracy stuff that's out there, and then you hear other people talking about it in public because people have public opinions about what they feel, and then you hear their opinions, and they're coming to you to tell you about it, and you're like, I don't really know if
Yep.
that's what you should be thinking about right now. Like you should be thinking about taking care of you, making sure that you're eating the right foods, you're keeping yourself active. Like what can you do around the house that you can move up and down? Like what do you eat? What other types of food do you eat? Do you eat natural foods? Do you only do frozen stuff? You know what I'm saying? Those the kind of things. How much medication are you taking? Like all of that stuff is where your mind should be going. You should be thinking about your body and soul as a person because it's almost like it's the flu that you're catching, except this is a new variant that no humankind was exposed to until now because COVID is it's the name for the disease. I don't know if it's a disease
A
that we call it. It's like
virus.
a virus. Sorry, I hate that word disease. So when I say it too, I'm like, no, it's not it. So it's a virus. Period. Like COVID, that name has existed prior to because they're like, oh, do you see it on the Lysol? It says COVID in here.
I
It says
remember that.
Corona. It says Corona on it. You're like, yeah, because it's a virus. That's just the name of a virus. And I guess they didn't have a name for this one, so they named it
Yeah, COVID-19
Corona
because it was what discovered in 2019,
at the
right?
end of the year, right?
Or
Something like
yeah,
that.
November
Mhm.
is when the first case in China. So they named it COVID-19 because it was a new strain. So my understanding is the coronavirus is a kind of virus, and then this COVID-19 is a type of that coronavirus. But yeah, but all that you're saying, all that paranoia is people who constantly just watching the media. Like, for instance, like you said, washing your hands. Like that was a normal practice for me. Like as soon as me and the kids come in the house, the first thing they do is wash your hands. Like go wash your hands. Like that's been a like something that we've done always. Like every time I would pump gas, I don't care. I'm using hand sanitizer. I don't know how many people touch this gas pump. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, always had hand sanitizer in my purse. Like, that's just always been my practice. So I just continue doing what I've always been doing, just, a little bit extra precautious with this distance and staying home and, you know what I mean? Things like that. But for me, in terms of mental health, again, I'm normally a homebody anyway. So I was home. I was living my best life, reading, learning, growing, like I
Right.
normally do.
Yep. That's what that's how I took it to, as far as, my mental health. I took it to, okay, dive into something that you always wanted time to, learn about. And I know we talked about astrology real quick, but that's what my first thing was, that started right in, like, I think November of 2019, diving deep into that. But I do also want to touch base a little bit on the mental health, because you ladies said, like, a lot of it is people who are always listening to the news, or listening to everybody's opinions about it, that was getting a little anxiety. But I did notice it with my students, just the fact that they weren't in school with their friends, maybe even if they're not listening to the news, just not being able to go out. I noticed a lot of them became very anxious. Anxiety really took over a lot of my students. Just that whole change, it was serious, it was harsh. So just the confinement, you know what I mean, and being able to change. Now you're learning from a computer.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who that would just mentally drive them a little.
Yeah, because like, there's people who are extroverts. They need to be social in order to feel energized, in order to feel like, like their mind is in the right space. So when you take that away from people, and even introverts need that too, you know what I mean? Like we
Mhm.
all need to be
Human
connected.
connection.
We need
Mhm.
the human connection. And in a sense, if we kind of touch a little bit on conspiracy theories, right? You can kind of say that that was a play on getting us to divide as a people, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? But we saw a lot of people actually come together. Like through this whole pandemic, we saw the whole Black Lives movement like just open up. You know what I mean? Because everybody was home, everybody was able to actually pay attention
Right.
to these videos that have been are going around, right? They've been going around for many, many years of police brutality, but during this pandemic, people actually home and they didn't have any other distractions, and this was like in your face, and then people could really like think about what that all meant. Yeah, so again, there's the good side of it, and then there's the not so good side of it, depending on how you are and how you process information.
Right.
Mhm.
And I dealing with the elderly, they were a lot of them were alone.
Yeah.
The other part that worried me a lot, being a community service person, is the ones that don't have anybody to go check in on them, the ones that don't have anyone to have a phone conversation. I literally became the phone conversation person. Like, I had to call every day or at certain times for certain people because they requested it. Like, can you check in on me? I have no one. So those are the kind of things that really touched me through the part, is that people are really alone out there, and it's mostly our elderly population, and then there's the middle people who, that are semi alone but have people, but then once people disappeared, they really noticed they had nobody. So being a support to them was important to me throughout this time, and I feel like it still is. We still need to do that human connection. People need to spread more kindness, worry about your neighbors. This whole thing of, I don't know, American society, and I think I'll never get used to it. In Cape Verde, everybody knew everybody. So if your kid did something, you already knew it happened before the kid got home. We grew up like that still around here, but I feel like you don't know your neighbors, and you don't know if they need something, and how can I help you if I don't know you. So I think a lot of people came out and did a lot for their communities, and the people who they didn't know, who now have great relationship with. But that's a topic that barely gets talked about. How these people really became alone, and depression and anxiety is taken over. And how do we help them is the other thing. How do we help with that fear of coming out and something happen again and they're all by themselves? So that's my part of my mental health piece.
Yeah, that's good.
Sorry, I did a rampage over there.
Well, it's good. But okay, so, you know, we talked about all these, I guess, towards the negative impact of all of this and our mental health and everything. But who here caught COVID?
I
Because we
did.
all, Oh,
Three
this
out of
is,
We all
I'm
three.
did.
afraid to
Well,
answer.
no,
We all
for
did.
me is
Yeah.
I would say yes, but I never went to like a lab and confirmed. Mine was through the home test, but we
towards
can,
towards the end of the whole craziness, when they were already,
yeah,
yeah. Well,
so
me, I caught COVID. I probably was the last person in my entire family to catch it. I think, I tested positive twice for it. The first time I felt everything people talked about besides losing, taste and smell. I ate a lot. I could smell everything. That wasn't an issue. But the body pain, the headaches, all of that got me the first time, got me really bad. Second time I caught it, not so bad because I guess maybe my body, had some
immunity.
yeah, towards it. But it was funny because like everybody in my family, well, my son never tested positive, thank God, for COVID, but like my husband did, and I never isolated from him for a whole week. He had no smell, no taste, body pain, and I was right there hugging up on him. I'm like, we're home,
Feeding
might as
him,
well.
holding him. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I never caught it. Then my mother think tested. Did she? I think she did. Then so everybody little by little was testing, and then I was like around these people. Never. They were like, "What's wrong with you? You're the only person that's like around people who are sick and never gets it." I even went on a trip for like a 45-day trip to Cape Verde during the pandemic, and every house I went in, somebody was like, "Oh, I tested positive." I was like, "Okay, then bye. I'm gonna stay at my other aunt's house because you're sick." And then before I left, a week in that house, oh, somebody else tested positive. So it was even a joke that Vanila's traveling from house to house, bringing us COVID, but she's perfectly fine. I mean, I
Fine.
tested all the time. I had to test like every single time I traveled from one island to another or whatever. We had to test, and it was always negative. But people always around me was catching COVID. So I was like, I'm on top of the world. COVID don't got nothing on me. When I got back to
The States.
States, I think a little while, boom, I was in bed with it hard. My husband's like, "See, you caught it," and I caught
Yeah.
it really bad. So I caught it first time, worse than anyone in my family. But yeah,
Second time?
second time wasn't so bad. And the
Oh
second
yeah, you
time
said that.
second time was that same week
The
that
third
you
time was
That
tested
I
good.
had it, yeah.
positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's and then it was through another. Said it was positive because I had a lot of the pain. I didn't go test in a clinic either. First time I did, and it came positive, but I did the home tests and it also came faintly positive.
Faintly.
Yeah, remember it was like a faint little
Yeah.
color.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
me and you, like me, that was the first time I caught it. And again, even my oldest daughter's like, I don't even think you had it. I think the
yeah.
test was wrong. But I tested like 3 or 4 times throughout that week until it gave me a negative result. And I was testing positive. The first day I tested positive, second day,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So I say I had it, but again, never confirmed through an official lab. But me, I caught it this year, right?
Mhm.
After New Year's
Yeah, in the new
Day,
year.
right? The New Year, we saw a huge spike and a bunch of people catching it again, and that's when I caught it. But throughout the whole 2 years, almost 2 years, like never caught it. And in the beginning of the pandemic, when everybody was being sent home from work, I was still working in the office, like half in the office, half kind of like you, Claudia.
Hmm.
Some days in the office, some days at home. So I was back and forth. I was the one grocery shopping for my family. So I was leaving the house too. My husband was not working. He's a barber. They had to shut down. So he wasn't working at all. And even through all of that, through the beginning when it was like super crazy, never caught it, never caught it. No one in my household to this day, again, maybe they did have it and they were just non-symptomatic, but in terms of testing, like my kids were testing, my daughters were, once they went back to school, they had to test anytime someone
Tested in
else
certain
tested
class.
positive in their class. So they were like constantly testing and they were never came back positive. So to my knowledge, no one, my husband and my kids, none of them had it. But the time that I got it was right after New Year's. We were all together, family function. My husband was the one who was feeling symptoms. So he was sick. He wasn't sick, right? So New Year's Eve, we had plans to go celebrate with his family. And New Year's Eve, he came home from work and he's feeling a little sniffly, right? So we're like, test, because we had home tests. We're like, test, we're not going anywhere unless we know, because we're not about to bring you around a bunch of people and, you have symptoms. He tested negative. He didn't have anything. So then when I started feeling symptoms a couple of days later and I tested positive, I made him test again and he was negative. He kept testing like every day since he started feeling symptoms. He was always testing, negative, negative, negative. And then I was positive. But my experience was, it just felt like, I don't think I've ever had the flu, so I can't say it felt like the flu, but it just felt like a really bad cold. And I just felt like I needed to sleep. So I took medicine and I slept most of the day. And that was it. It was literally that one day that I felt like, really achy body, like, sniffling, things like that. The next day, I felt much better. I felt so much better that my kids were like, you don't got COVID. Like, I'm like, okay, let me test. Tested positive.
Still positive.
Yeah, like every day I kept testing. And at that point, remember in the beginning, if you tested positive, you had to quarantine for 10 days.
Yeah, like 14, then 10.
14, right? Yeah.
14,
Right in the
10.
beginning, it was 14, then 10. But at the time when I caught it, almost 2 years later, the quarantine requirements from the CDC was only 5 days. So I was living it up because I honestly, it was that one day I was sick, but then the rest of the days I wasn't sick, but I kept testing positive. So I was like, I'm going to just quarantine for 5 days.
Yeah.
So I was, chilling in my room, and it was right after I redid my room. Even you, Vanilla, you were like, you did your room at the right time. My family was getting upset because they were like, you're fine. Why do we have to like serve you?
Oh no.
Of course it would be to the serving that they didn't want to do.
Like I wouldn't sit still in my room. So my family was like, get your butt in the room. Like I'm total opposite. I was like, the airhead that I am. I'm like, but I just want to clean. You guys are not in the kitchen. I'm just gonna clean a little bit real fine. Oh, you feel fine, but you're still sick. Go away. I used to
right. No, I would be like, can somebody please feed me? Like you guys want me to starve to death?
Leave me there.
And you're like, oh, you're fine. I'm like, I'm fine. I feel fine, but I don't want to. And then the kids were in school, so I definitely didn't want to. Regardless, I didn't even want to put myself in that situation till I tested negative. So yeah, that was me. But like after
just
5
like
days,
you said, some people would have it unsymptomatic, but still be able to pass it.
Transmit it, yeah.
Yeah. So
that was my experience.
Well, I caught it right at the beginning of 2021. The years have just mashed all together.
They're all the same.
Didn't get the body ache. I didn't get any symptoms besides a consistent nose and like when you have a severe allergy.
Like the sinus.
Yes, definitely sinus area pressure in my eyes, burning. That was me, but I tested because I went to those sites that they had, the government sites, and I tested positive. So I believe everyone for now, everybody in my household has caught it. All my children, my husband, he's never tested, but he was the first one to get it, like legit. Right when we shut down, he was the first one. He was in pain, crying like a big baby.
Well,
painful.
Yeah, he was in pain. He's like, I'm gonna die. I can't breathe. I'm like, oh my God.
That's serious.
Yeah, one time I thought I was gonna die.
Yeah, I felt so bad. There was not much I can do but give him the medication that they were telling us to give, and they didn't want him to go in for testing at that time because it was right at the beginning when we shut down. So we were stuck home. Oh, quarantine from him, and I'm like, he is going to die if I don't help him. So I didn't catch it with my husband. I was there with him, trying to use the mask, with the gloves and things like that. Kept the kids, so we caught it way after him, but he was the first one we feel like had COVID in the home. My son was the last one to catch it. Going through school, doing the testing as well. Like he was not catching it. He's like, I'm not catching it, but he ended up catching it this year.
That's what I was saying.
Me too. I was like, my immunity is so
I'm
good.
But I gotta say, the experience of having it is nothing like everybody says. And
everybody's different.
Recently, my kids were at the beginning, like it's around the same time as you for the New Year, Christmas.
Yeah.
The kids caught it. The two middle ones, my little one and I and my husband were fine. And they're
Yeah.
like, how? We were together, mommy, especially with you. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I haven't,
I
no, I feel
protected
fine.
myself.
And I tested every time because, again, I worked at the school. So I have to be if I have to be okay or quarantine, it was that 5 day, they told me to stay home for 5 days because the kids had just tested, but I had tested negative. So, okay, stay 5 days and then come into
Hmm.
work. So yeah, the experience myself wasn't bad, but I have family members who's had the pain as well and the headaches who felt like they were gonna die as well. They all caught it, and it's been a really bad experience for them losing people. We've lost people in our family for it as well. So it all depends. I don't know. I can't explain this virus, like how it kills people. Like I don't understand. Some people feel nothing, some people feel a little something, and then the people
Yeah.
really feel that pain and doesn't come back from it.
Yeah, but we also did hear most of those people they either had another health
pre-existing
condition.
Precondition, yeah.
pre-existing condition,
Yeah, like,
Mhm.
a health condition that
diabetes
didn't
or something like that.
that was I'm sure people maybe with like asthma as well, because
Yeah,
that when
lung,
it
because it's a
attacked my
lung.
lungs, that's when
Yeah,
I thought, you're like, oh
the
shit. One
respiratory
day I was
disease.
like, I'm gonna die.
Yeah,
That shit was
that's
just
what my husband told me.
gargling here. Didn't know if it was gonna come down or go up or whatever. And I was like, couldn't breathe. I was like, I'm gonna die all by myself, all alone. And I just
Oh,
cried. I was like
Aw.
screaming, and nobody could hear my name. But it finally made its way down, and and that's when I cried even more because like I was about to
you're about
die
to
all
die.
alone. And it's sad because a lot of
It
people
is.
did die all alone
Yeah.
Mhm.
with it. So many people watched their loved ones, even young kids, die from
Yes.
it. So
With it, right? Because it's
yeah,
not, you don't die from it,
from
you
it.
die
You
with
die with
it.
it.
I
I
don't know.
know.
You know,
Yeah, we
that's
die
the
with it in your system.
Mhm.
yeah.
But yeah, like I was saying, so usually, and then when we asked, did they suffer from something else? Usually that's what I got. Yeah, person was ill with whatever. Well, all right. On another note, how did we thrive? How did we thrive due to COVID?
One example is we got the
Yeah,
podcast.
we birthed a new podcast.
We used our creative
Yay.
minds and
Yay.
time that we had in our hand with nothing to do, nothing better to do, right?
Hey, it's time to be
It
creative,
is what it
So
is.
you when you have some slow time, dig into your passions, dig into the stuff that you love. And that's why I always said that America's never gonna slow down because I never feel like I can slow down. It's always like, oh, on to the next thing. And it's like, oh, when you actually stop and think about it, you're like, oh, I really like interior designing. Why am I not doing something
Claudia
about
found a new
Yeah.
hobby.
Come over.
I
Yeah,
I need some
it's
help.
hard. It's hard work, but it's fun,
Yeah, it's
It
fun.
is.
Let's buy a house. Why not? I bought two houses through the
Yeah.
There you
pandemic.
And
go,
that's
Okay.
not
girl.
Bring,
thriving.
bring,
That's
bring, bring, bring,
thriving.
bring. Money, money, money.
Well, bringing it to the money, that's my favorite too, was just being able to save so much. When you're locked down, you can't, and you're not a shopper, online shopper, I'd say that
True.
in my case, I got to save, some money because I wasn't out there. When you go out, you spend money, but when you stay
Isn't
home,
there a meme like being outside is expensive?
very
It
It
is. Going
is.
outside is expensive.
everything's so
Every time I go
beautiful, everything
outside,
looks
I'm
good.
spending.
Yeah.
how I thrive was I got a new job.
Yes.
You got a new
Promotion.
promotion.
She
I
got
got
promotion. She's
promoted.
still in the same
Yeah,
company. You got a
yeah, yeah,
promotion.
yeah, yeah. And my job came about because of the pandemic. So it's kind of like bittersweet in a way because if the pandemic never hit, this role wouldn't have been created. So that was a little, like
Hmm.
The
bittersweet, but
universe.
it's yeah, it
Universe
is
is
what it
working
is. So
in its good thing.
yeah. And it wasn't something I went looking for. It was a former colleague was like, "Hey, this position just came up, and I think you'd be perfect for it," sort of
I love that.
situation. So I was
Love
like,
it.
"Okay." For it to be like that is amazing.
Love it. I think
I
I've gotten
was
to most of my positions like that, Naya. Like, I think you
Mhm.
would fit great for this role. And
Oh,
not
oh
just
God,
apply, but get it.
I would fit great for so many roles that imagine if I was switching jobs that much time. But funny because I was 1 week into my new job when I was sent home. Literally, I had the
Mm.
training, and then they said, "Now go home." Now I'm
Wow.
like, I just got the training. I'm in the schools working with the students. They're like, oh,
Nope,
now go make
it's
up
shut
your own
down.
thing.
Go
Go
figure it
start
out.
online classes, figure something out, call your kids. I was like, "Ugh." So the workload definitely became
It
bigger.
shifted.
Yeah. Because now I had to do everything, from home, phone, video, Zoom, and all that. When versus I just could just walk into a school and serve the kids that the teachers had lined up. I wasn't like finding them and
Mhm.
doing all that I'm doing. But I guess I did. I thrived through my job, through my new job. Almost kind of created a new system that right now, when we have our meetings, they're like, well, cool, because now we know that we can do it virtually and we can do it in the schools or in a center. So I was like, it's
So
pretty cool
that's
thing.
another thing now, like, this whole pandemic has caused a lot of people to rethink their careers, to rethink the work they do, and to really like some people don't want to go back to work, like not go back to work, but like they don't want to go physically back to an
To an
office because
office.
they're
I
Yeah.
like,
know.
right, because they're like, well, we clearly demonstrated over the past couple of years that we can continue to work from home. So now that people are being sent back to work, it's kind of like, and then a lot of people just kind of woke up to, I feel like we had sort of like an awakening overall, like a conscious, what is it called? Like a conscious awakening that a lot of people are starting to like really ponder the meaning of life. I
Mhm.
mean, I don't think necessarily for us, because we've always kind of had sort of those thoughts and conversations, and we've always kind of been in tune with like, living a purposeful life. But a lot of people kind of woke up to that whole way of thinking. So you've seen like a whole shift in society of people really just only pursuing things that really have a purpose and a meaning to them.
Right. I agree. I think there's been a lot more businesses open, personal owned businesses. People are opening their businesses because they found their passion throughout the time that they were home
Yep.
bound, So I think this it's a sad time of our time that we're living in, but we've learned so much about our future, how we can make it better for us and keeping ourselves healthy. I think it's another thing that people are actually mindfully thinking about the foods they eat, the habits, their daily habits, the amount of exercise things that I see now out there besides just the food, diet is being a lifestyle and fitness being a lifestyle. It's not I pick up today and I drop off tomorrow and I'm done with it or I'm good. You have to consistently do it. You can fall off track. It's totally fine because nobody's perfect, perfection does not exist. And if you seek perfection, please stop. Okay.
Stop, stop.
Yes, just stop.
Okay,
It
you're
doesn't
going down the
exist.
wrong path.
Yeah, that's the wrong path. It is going to be like, no, we don't want to go that way. That's another conversation. But I think people have dipped into their passion, and I like that. I love that about us humans that we can actually do that. Like imagine you
Definitely.
found your passion, now you're out there doing it, and you're happy, and you're
It's
living your best
awesome.
life. And money isn't everything, but it is something that you need. But you're making it the way you like. So there's some positive to this pandemic. I think definitely a lot of positive to that.
Yeah, I would like to think more positive than negative came out of it, but again, it's all personal.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to have a different perspective, everyone's going to have a different experience through this time, but I think it's interesting to kind of hear everybody's point of view.
Any predictions for the future?
Let's
Predictions
get
for the
our
future of what? Our
fortune
future
teller, our fortune teller vibes going.
Yeah,
or
like
what we think about COVID.
where we think COVID is taking us. Will COVID ever
Go
be
away.
forgotten? Like, you know what I'm saying? Is it something that we're just gonna? Because, like you said, the Spanish flu or whatever that was forgotten, and the
Oh, it's
mentions
gone. It
only,
went away.
yeah, and it's only mentioned in like studies and things like that. People generally don't have a conversation about
Like, no one's like,
specific
oh, I
flu.
caught the Spanish flu this
Yeah,
year. I don't think
so
that's a thing.
so
I never heard anyone say I had the Spanish flu.
Because
yeah,
that
years
existed a
ago.
100 years ago.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, is it something like that where it happened at a time and
Will it
at
be?
a
So
moment
I
in
think
time,
so.
or is it something that's like influenza, the flu? It's always here. It's just a different strain every year. So
That's what they're predicting, that
it's
it's a
gonna be like the
strain
flu.
every year. It's gonna be a fluent thing, that you're gonna have to treat it like the flu shot that you're gonna take. Again, that's another conversation.
Yeah, we
Did
didn't get
any of
into
you
the
guys take the shot?
vaccine.
Because
No
They
one,
were
no
talking
one,
about the shot.
no
I
one
know I
talked about
didn't.
No one
Yeah,
talks about the vaccine and their
Nobody talked about the
experience. Why
vaccine. No,
not?
because it's so
Why
because ain't nobody
contradicting.
here getting vaccinated for nothing.
And I don't want to offend
I've
anybody by
never,
saying what I
I've,
gotta say.
I've never gotten a flu shot
I've
before.
gotten the flu shot like one time, long
Yeah,
time ago. But in terms of like, it's not something I give my kids. It's not. It's just not part of our
Routine.
wellness, our
Yeah.
health practices, and thankfully, none of us have gotten sick like that. Like, I mean, we talked a little bit about this in our time and age episode where the focus should really be on nutrition and
Hmm.
mental wellness and living a happy stress-free life. That's your prevention there, your first step to prevention. I'm not saying I'm against vaccination, but I'm just not there
I'm on the
yet, at least.
preventative
yeah,
side. I'm
yeah.
doing everything
Yeah,
to
I'm
prevent
focusing
myself
on
from getting sick.
that. I'm not rushing to get this vaccination. I'm not rushing to get it. I'm not gonna say I'll never get it. I'm not gonna say any of that because you never know. But I'm just saying at this moment in time, I don't feel like I need it or my family needs it.
Yeah, same here.
I agree.
But are
Same.
you ladies still walking in places that they're like, "Where's your mask?" Like the
No.
It's been lifted. So the mask mandate's been lifted. You don't have to wear your mask. It's
well,
suggested, but you don't have to wear
I
it.
I had an interview the other day, and I was at the door. They're like, "Have you been vaccinated?" I was like, "No."
Hmm.
It's like, "Sorry, you can't come in without a mask." Then I was like,
Oh,
"All
okay.
right."
I haven't
So
seen a lot of that.
yeah.
Since they've lifted the mandate. I mean, it's more recent, but
Well, you
a
don't go
lot of
anywhere
places.
anyways. No, I was
I
kidding.
do. I
It's
don't, but
it's
the
Home
places
usually
that I
the
do
Depot.
go,
grocery stores and
the places that I do
malls.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've only used it when I go into like the hospital and things like that, my doctor's appointment, things like that. But it's not
Even the
mandated
doctors, I've
anywhere.
been to the did I use it at the doctor's? I've been to the doctor's a couple of times since, and I don't think I've used it.
I've
Yeah,
never
bringing my
used
son to the doctor, the dentist, they still require, they still
Yeah,
ask.
maybe I
Yeah.
don't remember.
Maybe you haven't gone anywhere
No, I
lately.
did. I went to the doctor's. I brought my son to the doctor recently, and I
And
went.
they didn't ask
Brought,
for the mask.
I don't.
That's
I don't
good.
remember honestly.
What
I
did you
think
guys
maybe
think
we
about the
did.
mask? Did you think that it helped?
Well, remember there was a whole debate about that. Like it has to be a certain mask. Even the
Yeah.
cloth masks don't work. Like throughout the
Worn
pandemic,
properly, like a
there
proper way to will
was
use it.
yeah, social media was going crazy. Like if
Mhm.
everything was a debate, everything was a discussion,
Mhm.
everything was a problem, everything.
Hand sanitizer was $10. Now they're passing it out for free at the
Free
grocery stores.
They're sending us kits to test
in the
where remember you
mail.
couldn't even
Yeah,
go get tested. Remember
it
for a
was.
while you
Yeah.
Yeah.
couldn't get tested.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's
Just
definitely an interesting conversation we're
So
having. And
what
I've
is
learned
really
a
going
lot from
on? We need to
people.
have those conversations. What is really going on with COVID? Like, it was in the news, it was everywhere. Now that it's getting better, there's nobody really saying what's going on now. Like these are the numbers,
on to
or
the next, on to the next one,
on to the next
on to
what?
the next. I
They
don't know.
are still doing that. They are. Because I
I'm sure, but it's
catch a
not in our
glimpse.
faces. Like,
They're not in your face. No, they definitely dimmed it down a lot. So like this the shining stars not shining on the
yeah.
COVID.
Even the agencies that worked, the health agencies that work with COVID are like, I know friends who has lost their job because that job has terminated,
Yeah. So yeah, it's not
So
shining anymore, but it's still out there. They're talking about it being at the time that we're recording this, they're talking about it spiking again. So maybe the masks are coming back to, flying. If you're flying, you have to use the mask. So the airlines might be putting it back on. So there are
Can I at least take one trip with no
I
mask
know
before
without
they
the
put it
mask, I
on?
was so excited
Can
we
they
were gonna
hold
do
out?
that.
Can they hold out like 3 more weeks, please? Like just
Hopefully,
hold out 3 more
hopefully they
weeks.
can wait and we don't have to wear it. But there are things still out there fresh, with the COVID going on. It's
Yeah, I
still in
think they're
existence.
still testing the no mask and seeing how that goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, wearing the mask
So
on the airplane is not fun.
everyone's
it
gonna
didn't
catch
bother
COVID.
me. The wearing the mask didn't really
Yeah,
bother,
it didn't
unless
bother
I
me
had to
either.
like really talk or needed to wear my glasses. That was
Yeah.
an
Oh
issue. But
yeah, when you're wearing your glasses, yeah, that was a
right
problem.
That was
now, when
the
it's still
problem.
chilly, I'm like, oh, I need a mask. Like,
Mhm,
it's
mhm.
chilly outside.
Yeah, so the mask didn't bother me. I just thought people didn't really understand the process of it. Like it's for me to protect you, not for you to protect me.
What the reason why you wore it, right?
Well, it's like not for you, not for me to protect myself, for me to
Yeah, to
protect
protect
you. That's what
you.
I meant to
Yeah,
say.
yeah. I'm
So
like,
a lot
what?
of
You
people were
confused
like,
me there.
Well, I
yeah,
guess
yeah,
it does
that's what
go both
I
ways
confused
because you don't want
myself.
people spitting on you either,
Yeah,
sending you
but they
their
can get it in
germs.
your eyes. That was another thing. Your
Oh,
eyes aren't
yeah,
protected. So that's why the mask was really created for us to protect other people, not necessarily for us to be protected from other
Yeah.
people. It was for
yeah.
us to protect other people.
Imagine if we had to wear these special goggles. Everybody
Remember the
had to wear.
shields? Some
Oh
people
The
have
yeah, there was
shield
some
shields, the
ones,
shields.
they
face
still
That's
wear
right.
shields.
them. Yeah,
Yeah.
they still
Yeah,
wear that. I mean, do what makes you comfortable.
Yeah.
I think that's what we can say about it, because I do what makes me comfortable. If it's an environment that I'm new to, yeah, I'm probably gonna do everything I can to protect myself and you. And I think if we walk around knowing that, listen, we are going to carry something to give it to someone else, so be mindful not only for your own health but be mindful for the other people's health. I think that an anxiety, people could like switch it, like it's what we're supposed to do anyways. We're supposed to care for
yeah.
each other.
And
uh,
even if you're sick and it's not COVID, whatever it is, take
Stay home.
precaution. Use a
Mhm.
mask if you go grocery store and you have a cold.
Right.
Hand
Mhm.
sanitize.
Wipe your
If you have a
nose,
cold.
wash your hands, if not, hand sanitize it. Like
Right.
it's that easy for you to protect your fellow humans.
Yeah.
Think about us.
She's like,
So
think
the
about us.
Think
no,
about us.
seriously, because I think about you, and that kind of ticks me off. It makes me like I think about other people a lot, not only myself. I worry about who I am and what I'm doing a lot, but what am I doing that's affecting the next person? That definitely is something I think about. That I can say honestly, my actions will be a reaction to someone else. So, like, can we stop practicing that, humans, please? Thank you.
What's
My
one thing that
sarcasm
humans
over
got
there.
right during COVID?
Get it right.
No,
What
I'm
did
saying
they get right?
as humans, what's one thing that we got right? I'm thinking right now, like I
As
would
a
say,
collective, I think each
yeah,
person individually had to learn their own lesson through this. But I think it just opened people's eyes.
yeah.
I think
Not
it
to
opened
mention
people's
everything
eyes.
that came up, like you mentioned, like Black Lives Matters and many other things that surfaced.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's one thing as a collective we kind of, went through together and thrive from those situations. Trying to think if there's anything else. How about helping one another? Like I had my boss, she doesn't even live in New Bedford, come over and leave me a basket when I told her
You were sick.
that we were sick.
That's sweet.
Yeah. So I think definitely helping. Like a lot of people realize, like, wow, we need to, like Claudia mentioned, we don't know our neighbors, but a lot of people became more aware, like, call on your family, check on them.
Mhm.
They're sick, bring them a bowl of soup or something like that. So that definitely brought a little bit of compassion. I think this whole thing brought some compassion to the world. All right. And social media did thrive, right?
Yes,
Everybody
it
wanted
sure
to
did.
showcase their new skill or a business or their new venture. So
Right.
that was another good thing.
Yeah.
There was a lot of
Unfortunate, a lot of what?
yeah, like food drives and food assistance.
Oh,
Um,
talking about that, I was going to say, I never actually on Wednesdays, even through COVID, I always went out and dealt with the community because I run the food pantry.
yeah,
We never closed throughout the food pantry. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
essential
So,
worker.
yeah, we did that.
I mean, I think our communities, we can only speak for our communities, and some that we've seen on TV, there were long drives to get the foods that were given out. So there was definitely a need, even though we were at a point in our lives that the government gave out the most
Yeah, I
money
was just gonna say that government
ever.
assistance was, like,
The
through the roof.
government's it's still going on.
I know.
COVID assistance, COVID help, it's still going on as far as food stamps and other type of
Just ma
assistance.
payment, unemployment,
And now
and all
even
that.
more because it looks like almost like we're going to a different type of crisis.
Re
You
a
know,
recession,
there's a
an
recession with the
economic crisis.
inflation in food
Food
prices and
drought, food
everything.
they're
But
talking
Mhm.
about a food drought.
no, we are in a food drought. I work a
Yeah.
food pantry, remember? I know
Yes.
it's real. It's really
Yeah, this stuff
real.
is real. We've gone. There's still like a lot of need out there that we may not know so many of, but there are things that we're aware of, and our government have has been helping, and I hope that our people are taking advantage of all of the help that's out there. If you don't, reach out to a community. There's always a community place that you can get these information from. If you're struggling with rent, struggling with gas payments for your, especially with the heating systems now, gas prices went up. Food pantries out there. Connect with your community, because there are people in your community who's willing to help, who will give
There.
you a bed if you need it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got mattresses in my basement. You need one? Come and get
Claudia's
it.
like, come over. I have
You need one?
Come and get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't only think for you. Like, you have it. You know somebody needs it. Why not give it out? Like, that's the kind of stuff we need to consistently stay on, helping each other, and that's how we thrive. And
Mhm.
we're about thriving in this channel. Let's
That's
thrive
right.
Right.
together.
So, you have any questions as far as where to go for types of,
Assistance,
assistance, hit us up in our DM and we
email.
will point you in the right direction.
And if you live in Massachusetts, mass.gov, there you go. Find everything in there, health insurance, everything. If you're struggling, you need to go into this website and find any help that you can get for you and your family. You deserve it.
Sounds good.
Yes.
So our future is
Bright. Sunshine.
it needs to be hopefully comes to I would love to be a non-existent, but if it's something that we have to live for the rest of our life with, that science does come with these vaccinations that actually will protect you.
Work. That actually work.
That will protect you. I mean, they're working for something, but protecting you from the virus itself, and I don't know, because people are still catching it. So
With the
that's my 2
vaccine.
points. Come up with something better. Do something better. You can do this. Do it for the kindness of your heart, not for the money in your pocket. Boom.
So there's not an actual vaccine yet, like
That is going to cure COVID? No.
No.
And
Usually
if there is,
viruses,
they're not
so
putting it
now
out
you
there.
still got to
Sorry.
take all the
you
to
have to
be
take
vaccinated.
boosters.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
take the vaccine, then you get boosters.
Soon they'll have one that includes all the boosters and
Well, if it's like the flu, if it's gonna end up being like the flu, then every year you're gonna have to get a
Retake it.
shot because
Yeah.
it changes every year. So that's what's happening with COVID. It's changing every time someone else gets infected with it.
and we are a lot of someone else's.
What?
Said and we are a lot of someone else's.
We are a lot of someone
You
else's.
said every time someone else gets it, it changes. So
changes.
like there's a lot of us to be,
Right.
depending on just that. Now the real question is COVID real?
You really
On
gonna
the
take
next
us there?
episode of Shut Up and Thrive.
Yeah, good one there.
Is it real?
Don't take this girl serious.
I don't know.
That's the
Hey.
mysteries of the world.
I know I got sick with something. They said it was
The
COVID.
disease was real,
The virus.
but is the whole thing really real?
The whole thing?
Is
way
everything
it
that you see in
started.
social media, everything you see in the TV real?
Obviously
Television. Girl, don't get me started with this conversation.
I don't want to. Sorry, I don't even want to get started because I have no clue. I just
You're
wish
bringing
you guys
it up.
exactly
bringing
so
it
y'all can like come at me with girl. I have
We
friends
don't
that
know.
I have friends right now that are like, you are crazy. Stop thinking that way. Stop talking that way. It is real because of that. You have to take your vaccine because of this and this and that. Statistically, because of this and this and that. And I'm like, okay, So I thank God I'm alive. I thank God that my family did thrive to, with all this craziness we lived in or may still be living in. I'm grateful that, we got sick, got over it. Some of us are vaccinated, others are not, but we're here. And I'm very thankful that I didn't, go through anything bad with COVID like I know many families did.
That's
I
right.
think you ladies are the same
We
way, right?
agree.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely feel the same way. We've lost through this time. Can't say that it's 100% COVID related, but we've lost family members, lost a very, very important person to me. So a loss is a loss. Like there's no COVID or non-COVID. You lose someone, you know it. So we are definitely sincere to that. We're just talking about other stuff with COVID, like how
Yeah.
social media and politics play into place, and the drug industry, how it plays. So you know because you've read it and you've heard it and you've probably felt the same way. But if the other one is stronger, the other feeling is stronger, then go with it. But my feeling
Yeah, do
is,
you. Do what's right for you. Don't
it's right for you and your
try to
family.
pressure people. Let everybody make their own decisions. That's my thing. Is like
Yeah,
if I make a decision one way or another, like just respect that. I respect your decision. I don't look anybody a different way if they have the take the vaccine, if they don't. So I would just ask for that same respect back.
I agree.
Mhm.
That's right.
COVID,
COVID be gone. We're done with you.
Yeah,
flash
fuck
away.
COVID.
Let us thrive. Healthy is
Yeah.
all we want. Hopefully,
All
the
right,
future
ladies.
is definitely a positive one for us. So, thank you for listening, and hopefully, we didn't offend you in any way.
You didn't offend anyone.
I don't
If
know.
we offended you, boo-hoo, stop crying. Suck it up, buttercup.
Suck it up, Buttercup.
Suck it up, buttercup. Oh man.
No, it's just our opinions, and it's reality of our
We're
lives.
entitled to it, okay?
Yeah,
We're
it's our
entitled to it.
life.
It's free speech. Freedom of speech.
No, please don't take that away from me.
I
Because,
will
like
run out
because
of this country with the
you
hotness.
you
Bye.
guys know what they're taking away from us, right?
What are you
What?
talking
Our
about?
woman rights.
Oh no.
Wait,
No,
what?
no. That's a whole other topic.
So don't take it away from me.
Oh,
Give me
okay,
my
I don't
freedom
okay,
know
speech.
okay. All
if
right.
this is
Give me,
the right if this is the right
Oh, we can have
space
we
to
can
have
have a day
conversation.
just to talk about that.
I mean,
But we need to
yeah,
start coming here like not all on the same. How do I say the same?
same opinions.
Yeah,
But
dude.
we're very
Let's
in
be
tune.
debate. Let's talk.
Let's
Let's
debate.
fight. Let's
I
fight.
mean,
let's
I
fight. What I miss?
no, she
You
said
started it.
she said we be coming on here with all like similar opinions on things. We need to come in here and debate and fight.
Oh
Let's fight.
yes, let's debate.
Well, that topic, when it comes to women's rights, I probably can speak for the three of us that we're all on the same page. So I don't think that's the right topic for us to debate.
Yeah,
And
true.
like, I don't know. Am I speaking correctly for us three? Daniela, you got another opinion?
Well, let's save it for that conversation, and then you'll see my true opinion on the whole thing.
Whew. Okay,
Yeah.
if we want to bring that, let's bring it.
I don't know. Some things need to be changed in our government, but some things don't need to be reverting backwards. We're supposed to be moving forward,
Yeah.
and
I
that's
mean,
the
first
justice
of all,
system
that's
is the one that
women's
needs to be
rights.
changed.
It
Yeah.
shouldn't
Okay.
be made through guys who don't have a vagina.
Right.
Right.
What a woman can and cannot do with her body should not be up to the government. It should be between her and
No.
her doctor. Point blank, period.
Just like they don't judge you on your religion. Why is religion? Oh, you can't mess with somebody because it's religion. But yet, my body, you want to tell me what to do, girl? Don't even get me started with these.
That's what I'm
people.
saying. I don't know if that's the right topic because
But-
we just gonna be on here like.
They be
We're gonna be
pissing
fighting with
me
our
off,
audience. You don't be telling me. Don't tell us.
No, the things that we need to be addressed and nobody's addressing, which is the civil, is the rights. I just said it.
Women's rights.
No, the women's rights. We are working towards that to moving forward, not retreating us backwards to where we started. The justice system is where we need to really focusly change because the laws were written by white men and it needs to be changed. So let me say it out there. So there's a bunch of us out here, African Americans.
Yeah, but you know what that's gonna take? That's gonna take African Americans and people of color to actually get into those positions. Until that happens, these laws are still going to be written by old white men.
And those laws are built in that they never get out of power.
Right, exactly. So
Biden, you tried. I'm going to keep it there. You guys finish this off because...
How did we get here from COVID to...
Because COVID relates to a lot of the government stuff, and we know that.
It started when we said F COVID, and then we want to just F everything else that's not right.
We just want it to end. We want to be treated right. How come you get to sit in millions and millions of dollars and make decisions for the other people, and they're not even making the right decisions, and they lie to us.
When they made the decision to put our ass locked inside the house, y'all were all like,
yeah. No, not to say we were like. No, not like that.
We thrived in that.
You like that decision. You didn't fight that decision, did you?
Of course I fought that decision. I was in the store.
Claudia
Yeah,
loves
you
the
bet.
shop,
I said,
right?
Claudia, what are you doing at the
I
store?
know she loves the shop.
Yeah, there was a time I felt like I
Shutting
was
me
like,
down. I'm going where I want to
why are
go.
you at the store?
Remember, didn't she say she was at Home Depot every day? Remember?
Yeah, I was like, what?
I
Because I
was
have a
out. I
mask
took
on.
care
I'm
of
staying away
myself
from
and I took care
people.
of my people. I knew what I was doing. I mean, like I said, it's hygiene. It's what you put in yourself and how you take care of yourself.
I don't
It's how you
know.
take care of other people.
You were at
I
the
didn't
store
get nobody sick and nobody got me sick.
touching everything. The whole family got sick. It must have been you. Blame it on your husband.
He's the one who started and I didn't even get sick. But
Mhm.
yeah.
Now, on a serious note, though, stay healthy, stay wise, stay woke, and
Thrive.
listen to us. Tune in to our podcast and keep thriving.
That's right. Join
Follow
the
us on social
fam.
media.
Love you
Yes.
lots.
Don't hate this.
Thumbs up, not thumbs down.
Let's keep it real.
All
Shut up
right,
and
everyone.
thrive. Alrighty. Whoop
Whoop,
whoop.
whoop.
What was
Vanilla,
that? What was that?
Whoop whoop. That's what it was.
Okay, I heard it 4 times.
Yeah.
You
Really?
both said it. Because you both
Yeah.
said it one after
Yeah.
the other.
All right, everyone. Thanks for
Till next
listening.
time.
See you
Thank
next
you.
week.
Love you.